I welcome you back to our program entitled Integrative Theology. This is the second course that's entitled Philosophy of Theology. Today, I want to start with the first supplemental lecture to Lecture 8. Today's lecture will be entitled The Immaterial Omnipresence or Omnipresent Existence. Let's dive right in. I am your host, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and let's dive right in. And so I just want to make sure that I keep in par with what my topic is. Again, immaterial, omnipresent existence. So let's go. When we talk about immateriality, we're talking about something that does have reality, does have substantial reality, and is existing outside of the mind. So it is not just an abstract reality. It is not just a minciological reality wherein it becomes thought processes or thoughts. And so, therefore, it is real both in the mind and externally. There is a true objective reality that can be pinpointed as being in existence. And so when we speak of God, his immateriality simply means that he is not constructed out of anything that was created or out of any type of matter. When we speak of matter that is materialistic, or the Latins call it materialis, then we're speaking of something then that has construction, something then that is standing upon some type of element or principle of reality that keeps it within its existence. And so immateriality doesn't mean that it has no substantial or objective reality. It simply means that its reality is not based upon material. It is not based upon physical, material existence that we can touch, lift, handle, or even see. And so when we look again, immaterial, omnipresent existence, something that is existent really has true fabrics of reality. God in his existence is a real living being. He is objectively real, and he is beyond the material, because everything that is material, according to Scripture, was created by God. When we speak of God's self-existence, as we utilize the name Jehovah or Jehovah, we understand that it does not mean that God brought himself into existence, because you cannot impact your reality if you are not real, and if you have no reality to even impact it. And so God has no beginning, he has no ending. Therefore, when we speak of his existence being immaterial, we speak of him as the first mover, we speak of him as the first mind, the first influencer, and therefore the necessary being that caused all things. It is out of necessity that God must exist, because when we see the emergence of physical reality, there must be something that moves the physicality of the physical world into the existence in which it now rests. And so, speaking of immaterial, and we say omnipresent um, existence, existence existere means being real, having form, having something that designates who and what you are. And so God's immaterial reality that is omniscient simply means that he must be infinite, because if he is everywhere, then that means he is in every place of space, time. He deals with past, present, and future. He is aware of the past, present, and future. He sees it. He is embedded in it. He can impact it. And our God can even turn back time. And so his omnipresence then deals with the capacity to be everywhere on the basis of him knowing everything. Because when we talk about the being of God, we have to realize that God is spirit. What is a spirit? It is breath. It is a current of air. It is a current of wind. And so it's not saying that God is just the wind, because wind is created by the rotation of the earth, and because of the spin, the gases spin with it, and there are currents based upon the clouds and the heat and the cooling factor. And so God is more than just an elemental drift or an elemental spin. God in his reality is spirit. And when it speaks of God as spirit, it speaks of God as being free moving, free operational, without any construct. The wind blows wherever it wills, according to Christ in St. John chapter 3. God moves wherever he desires. God, when we speak of his movement, remember there's no place that he can move to that he is not already there. And so when we speak of the movement of God, we're literally talking about the will of God being expressed within some type of mode of reality. It's not that God has to move from heaven to get to earth. God is everywhere, and God can will himself to be manifested wherever he desires. Therefore, when we speak of the immaterial, omnipresent existence of God, we're speaking of the mind of God that is immaterial, that has no construct, but yet has a form that is eternal. Anytime you speak of constructor or construction, there must always be a constructor who put it together. And so God is not dependent upon anything that constructs his reality, because his reality has always been there. It has ever had form that was not formed. And so his immateriality and his omniscience, his omnipresence, has to do with the mind that created all things from the very imagination of God. What he saw in his mind from out all of eternity, he speaks and it becomes real. And it is still fresh in his mind because he knows it from the very foundation of it. He knows it. He knows the characteristics of it. He knows how it is held together. He understands the dynamics and the laws that operate it, because it all came forth out of his minciological existence by way of his rhematic word. God thinks, he speaks, again, either verbally or he speaks in some form of minciological telepathic kinesis, where he thinks and it moves the imagery to create the quantum streams of existence that gave rise to the elements, that gave rise to the subatomic particles, that gave rise to the atom, the molecule, and then physical matter. This is all the time we have. I thank you for joining me. This has been Integrated Theology. This is the first supplemental lecture to Lecture 8, and I am your host, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves. Until next time, God bless you and keep you.